Today we're reacting to the murders that got Bricc Baby and Big U a federal RICO indictment. This is crazy and I wanted to get caught up on this. I haven't put a video out on this yet. I'm gonna be reacting to these updates, the major ones, and kind of just getting myself in the loop of what's going on. So let's go and get to it, man.
This is bad. Really, really, really bad. If you haven't heard already, earlier this morning, the Department of Justice announced that Big U, Loose Cannon, and Bricc Baby, they've all been charged in a federal complaint alleging racketeering crimes were committed by the Rolling 60s. 19 people total have been arrested and charged in the first federal complaint. Now, this federal complaint is surrounding Big U and Big U Enterprises, and the people you see on the screen are people the feds believe helped Big U commit crimes. Bricc Baby is also the subject of another separate sealed indictment that we know nothing about until Bricc Baby goes to court and the indictment gets unsealed. So there's a lot of components working here, and I'm gonna try to simplify it as much as possible in this video. This came as a shock to a lot of us, but the people involved like Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon, they've been expecting this for a very long time. It's been a countdown, to be honest. They've knew that the RICO was coming for some time now. The feds have raided Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon's crib. They've had several interactions with the feds. So the feds have been messing with them for a very long time, and they would even admit to such.
Look, outside of that, the feds picked you up 2 times, right? You said the feds have picked you up on numerous occasions, right?
What part? What time? Yeah. Okay, so look.
So
we're gonna elaborate and we're gonna respond to that. Yeah. No. Because at the end of the day, it's like this, right? Because when the same time they came and picked your ass up, right? They came and got Big Useless, right? And then, you know, they rolled on me.
Yeah.
So you already know the answer.
I don't know that they wrote on you. I'm telling you. I'm saying
we dealing with this
2 separate times. Okay, I hear you.
Okay, wait, hold on.
You're talking.
No, look
to them.
Okay, so listen.
You can't just say you know.
Okay, no. So
Loose Cannon and Bricc Baby revealed last night that Loose Cannon, Bricc Baby, and Big U all had a run-in with the feds right around the exact same time. Now, Bricc Baby house was raided and an AK-47 was found.
Damn.
And Bricc Baby picked up a federal gun case at the time. Now, Bricc will say that the feds and the state police raided his home. However, the feds didn't really charge him. It's the state police who charged him, but it was a DA reject. But after they raided his crib, Bricc Baby will confide in his homie at the time called Christopher Lovejoy, aka 600. And he will tell 600 that he was notified that Big U was being investigated for a federal RICO. And he will tell 600 that the federal RICO was stemming from a hot one out of town. And by hot one, he means a murder that took place out of town.
600, that go back to you. He told you, the feds talked to him and told you what?
You understand? I'm with Bricc at this time. I was his savior to bring it back to the hood. He's telling me everything that's going on, so I know what's going on with the case and everything other. So he's telling me, man, the feds be on all your videos, bro. They like, man, Lovejoy gives us a tour of the hood every day.
He telling me.
We watch all your videos. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, huh? Why do I watch my videos? Like, whatever. But he's like, yeah, bro. They found the chop. I'm like, okay. So I didn't really think nothing of it because, like I told you, my whole stance with him at that point was he never told before this. So I just assumed that he was in some hot grease and he had whatever he had coming from the legal system. So I never really followed up on till time started going by like, nigga, what's up with that case? They start going around it. You know
no, 600. Your first red flag was when he started telling you the feds was telling him about Big U.
Oh,
feds don't go to telling you unless you
so that's what he telling me. He like, bro, Big U on fire, bro. It's ugly for Cuz. They want Cuz in jail. They got a RICO on him. I'm like, yeah? He like, nah, but you ain't got nothing to worry about. It's a Big U RICO, not a 6-0 RICO. Everybody who he been dealing with. They tied Cuz to a house, went out the way. I'm like, oh, he said, yeah, it's ugly. I'm like, damn.
That's the thing the family
called. Flacco, you see what we be saying?
Whoa, who's that Flacco guy? I don't know who he is, bro. That's not this guy, bro. Not Flacco. Hey, bro, I don't know nothing. The hot one out of town, aka the murder out of town that they're referring to, is the 2021 murder of Rayshawn Williams. Rayshawn Williams is the best friend of Big U's son. Rayshawn Williams lives with Big U at some point. Now, Rayshawn Williams was found dead in a ditch with multiple bullet wounds in Vegas in 2021. Late last week, Christopher Lovejoy, aka 600, would actually take to social media to reveal that the family of Rayshawn Williams told him that the police located Big U's DNA under Rayshawn Williams' fingernails.
Wow.
Yeah, we got some pretty disturbing news,
wow.
man.
Wow.
I remember a couple of days ago when I mentioned that case where the kid, the football player, you know, it was Big U's son's best friend, played on the football team, who was living with Big U, was killed. And it was saying that Big U didn't show up to the funeral, never contacted the mother for any type of support, anything. Just blocked her and everything, right?
Wow.
It was just like, damn, bro, like you always say if you know anything about these gang murders to give you the information. But when the football player is the best friend of your son who was living with you turns up dead, you don't want nothing to do with nothing, right? So the news came out today, this morning. The mother said that Big U has been denying to give his DNA. So they had to send a warrant to get Big U's DNA.
Wow.
You want to take a wild guess whose DNA came back on his son? Big U, Eugene Henley's DNA came back on her son's fingernails.
WAC 100 will follow this up by posting a call between himself and the family of Rayshawn Williams, where they are alerting WAC 100 that the police plan on arresting Big U in late March, early April.
You gotta go crazy. Conspiracy. So,
yeah, they shot his DNA test in my brother's nails.
Okay, so, that's bad work.
So that means my brother.
Now, that's what y'all been hearing. This one ain't nobody heard. Let me find this shit.
Since of April.
Hey, they still ain't arrested the nigga?
Well, they told me between me and you, please, between me and you, don't tell nobody because they don't want nobody to know. They're going to be making an arrest the ending of March, the beginning of April.
She told WAC don't tell nobody, but WAC told the entire internet. Now, WAC's explanation for this is he had to tell the internet because if he didn't, people will look at him a certain way. But right on cue, everything that's been discussed on the internet over the last year and a half surrounding Big U, Bricc Baby, Rayshawn Williams, and everything in loose cannon, it all came in fruition, even down to the exact arrest date. Right on cue, the feds announced the federal indictment of Big U and 18 other Rolling 60 associates this morning.
Good morning. I'm Joe McNally, the acting United States Attorney here in Los Angeles. Today, we're here to announce federal criminal charges against Eugene Henley Jr., a career criminal known as Big U, who used his contacts and leadership role in the Crips criminal street gang, the entertainment industry, and a youth charity to further his own criminal enterprise, an enterprise engaged in murder, extortion, robbery, human trafficking, COVID fraud, and other felonies.
Yikes. They get that nigga for the PPPs.
Other individuals linked to him.
They ain't forget about that.
And his criminal enterprise were charged in a criminal complaint with federal racketeering conspiracy. Mr. Henley is a fugitive, and he is currently wanted by federal law enforcement.
We will learn several things during this press conference. We will learn that the feds have been looking at the podcast in LA. They've been looking at several LA podcasts, recording, taking down everything. So if you've been speaking on an LA podcast as of lately, bro, over the last 4 years, you are in severe trouble. Let's just, you in trouble. Now, the feds would also alert that this entire investigation, this entire RICO investigation into Big U and his associates and his business dealings all started with the murder of Rayshawn Williams. When they began to investigate the murder of Rayshawn Williams in 2021, that's when the investigation of Big U and the Rolling 60 started. Now, the feds will officially say that Big U is responsible for the death of Rayshawn Williams, in their opinion.
As I said, Mr. Henley is a widely known leader within the rolling 60s. He rose to prominence in that gang decades ago, and he has since been a fixture on the internet, talk shows, and podcasts, all things that law enforcement have looked at closely as part of this investigation. He has maintained the
niggas that be gay, big, and hard like that shouldn't be talking on no fucking podcast. Like, what?
Entertainment industry entrepreneur, running a music label, and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles, funding a South LA-based charity, developing options, which purports to help at-youth risk escape gang life and escape the perils of gangs in high-crime areas. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat, and the criminals that enabled him. For example, Mr. Henley engaged in a murder of a musician signed to his label in 2021 and dumped the victim's body in Las Vegas off of the I-15 freeway. He then attempted to evade and obstruct the investigation into the murder, including ordering witnesses not to speak with law enforcement.
Let's run through the murder of Rayshawn Williams and exactly why they're tying Big U to the murder of Rayshawn Williams. Rayshawn was signed to Big U's record label, Unique Music. So on January 20th, 2021, Big U sent Rayshawn Williams to Vegas to record music in a Grammy-nominated studio. He got an Airbnb for Rayshawn Williams, and he paid for the studio time for a week. Okay. Rayshawn Williams was to record a bunch of music, and afterwards, Big U would choose which music he can get behind according to the affidavit. But according to the documents, when Rayshawn Williams got to Vegas, he really wasn't taking advantage of being able to record in a Grammy-nominated studio. He will record one day, take the next day off, they won't see him the following day, he come back, and then they don't see him again. Okay, so the Grammy-nominated studio, right, one of the employees contacted Big U, and they let Big U know, hey, bro, you paying for studio time, but homie ain't really coming to record like that. Big U, being really annoyed according to the court documents, hopped in his vehicle with one of his right-hand mans who goes by Robinson. So Big U and Robinson hopped in the car and they drove to Vegas. Big U popped up at Rayshawn Williams' Airbnb at about 2 a.m. on January 24th. When confronted by Big U for being lazy and not recording, Rayshawn Williams would tell Big U that he didn't go to the studio a couple of days because he didn't have a ride to the studio. It's unclear exactly how that discussion went, but it couldn't have went too bad because Big U would still schedule a studio session for 7 p.m. that day, and Rayshawn Williams would join Big U at the studio a couple hours later, around like 9-ish p.m. So Rayshawn Williams and Big U went to the studio, according to the documents, and they recorded records and heard the other records that Rayshawn Williams had recorded, and they left the studio around 12:30 a.m. Officials believe that Big U turned off his phone shortly after leaving the studio with Rayshawn Williams because Big U's phone stopped reporting data shortly after 12:30 a.m. But officials will say they know that Big U drove the vehicle with Rayshawn Williams in it back to the Airbnb because around 1:13 a.m. they arrived at the Airbnb according to the surveillance footage, and Rayshawn Williams got out of the vehicle and went inside and grabbed all of his belongings, despite the fact that Rayshawn Williams' flight wasn't scheduled until the following day and the Airbnb checkout wasn't scheduled until the following day. So Rayshawn Williams grabbing all of his belongings from out the house was kind of suspicious according to officials, but he grabbed all of his belongings and got back into the vehicle with Big U according to the officials. Per the Airbnb footage, Rayshawn Williams and Big U would drive off together. Big U's phone wouldn't come back on or start pinging information until about 2:15 a.m. A witness at the studio would say that Big U returned back to the studio without Rayshawn Williams at 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, the witness would say that Big U was drenched in sweat. And when they asked Big U what he was doing, he said that he just left the gym. About 6 hours later, Rayshawn Williams' body was found in a ditch near North Vegas at about 9 a.m. in the morning. Now, police believed, or they determined, his death was a manner of a homicide. Investigators believe that between 1:13 a.m. and 2:15 a.m., Big U and Rayshawn Williams drove away from the Airbnb. Big U drove Rayshawn Williams to North Vegas. shot and killed Rayshawn Williams and dumped his body in a ditch, and then drove back to the studio drenched in sweat. Investigators will say, according to witness testimony, that Why? You and Rayshawn Williams had an altercation at the studio before they ultimately left together. And the altercation stemmed from Big U discovering that while Rayshawn Williams was in Vegas, one of the songs that he recorded at that studio was a record that could be interpreted as a Big U diss track. According to officials, they have a witness account of the altercation, but they don't have the footage of the altercation because shortly after Rayshawn's body was found, Big U instructed the studio to delete or remove all equipment that was in the studio the night that the altercation took place, as well as delete all the surveillance footage. So they don't have the footage of the actual altercation, but they have a first-hand account of it. And that's why they're charging Big U with the murder of Rayshawn Williams.
Answered questions when he was down there. They asked him when the last time you saw this person or this person, that person, and he told them, 6 months, a year. Nigga, it's not believable that a human being went that long without washing their hands because your skin get up under his nails. You know, you had to see him, so he kind of himself saying he ain't been around him, but his DNA, but that ain't even the worst. The worst ain't even come out. So I told Six, until it come out, you don't say nothing, it come out, it's in the blog.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, Wack.
From my perspective, I don't know about them 6 months. The 6 months is kind of like, bro, if there's eyewitnesses who seen you at the studio that night, it's kind of, 6 months is hard to believe, especially if
6 months. Come on,
this is somebody who used to live with you. This is somebody who was signed to your label. Not seeing them in 6 months, but they're signed to you is kind of like, I don't know about that one. But in terms of the DNA, there has been some misinformation being spread about Big U's DNA being found under the fingernail of Rayshawn Williams. The truth about that is they did indeed get Big U's DNA, and they did indeed test it. Now, the DNA results came back inconclusive, but we can't exclude him completely, meaning Rayshawn Williams probably had multiple people's DNA under his fingernails, right? He probably had his girl, had his mom, right? So they're saying that we can't completely say Big U's DNA is here, but we can't say it's not either. So it's inconclusive. Investigating this murder and trying to really pin down Big U was the beginning of this entire investigation into Big U Enterprise and the RICO we currently see with the Rolling 60s. Without this murder, this investigation in RICO never happens.
Wow.
But this murder isn't the only charge on this RICO. They're charging Big U, as you guys just heard, and his associates with robbery, fraud, human trafficking. So let's get into some of these charges and really break it down. So let's get into the human trafficking charge.
Henley's criminal enterprise also engaged in other crimes, including transporting prostitutes across state lines, extorting strip clubs.
According to officials, Big U utilized this woman right here, Armani Afalaj, who he was also intimate with. He utilized her to transport 304s across state lines often. So she would recruit the women to come to Big U parties when he's chilling with the boys. Now, according to police, one of these interactions was actually captured on wiretap.
That's kind of crazy how that's like, that's trafficking. Like, say some girls are strippers. They work for the strip club, whatever, but then they also want to engage in, like, they are willfully wanting to go and, like, you know, shake ass and strip at the crib, or even maybe fuck some of these niggas, right? They want to do that. They want to pull up. And because they came from, let's say, Atlanta all the way down to Texas to Houston, let's just say, that's trafficking. That's crazy, right?
It's severely underwhelming. When we hear the charge human trafficking, I'm thinking something crazy, right? Like busting down some 304s, bro. I guess it's considered that. The human trafficking dates back to an incident that took place November of 2022, which really highlights how long they've been investigating for. So in November of 2022, Big U paid Afalaj $1,000 to transport 3 women from the Central District of California to Las Vegas to engage in prostitution and other crimes under Nevada law. The feds, being armed with this information, decided not to go to Big U because that's who they want. They decided to go directly to, let's call her by her first name, Armani. So the feds went to Armani and presented her with everything they had. They said, yo, we got the wiretaps, bro. Do you want to be honest with us? And she kept it honest with them. June of 2023, they went to her house and they told her they got the wiretaps, they know everything that happened, and they planned on charging her with sex trafficking if she don't cooperate and speak to them. So she admitted that she promoted prostitution, but she did say that she doesn't think that she's a pimp. She's just known for bringing the hoes around whenever she's asked to bring the hoes around. Now, according to Armani, we call her by her first name now, she told investigators that she provided Big U with women as long as the women were paid. That representation is corroborated by a series of intercepted calls from January 2023 when Armani said she was bringing 7 women to Big U, and after which Big U talked to Armani and others about her being upset when they did not get paid right away. According to Armani, she told her women, cash, charge them before you hit. Cash before smash. So apparently when the women was coming around and they were smashing before getting cash, you know, some of them was getting shorter. You feel me? They wasn't getting the full amount, and Armani wasn't having it. So that's on wiretap as well, of them having that conversation of why you not paying my girls the right amount. Here's where the story gets a little crazy. So she talked to the investigators. She let them know, yeah, you know, I provided women for Big U. He paid for it, et cetera, et cetera. So she agreed to meet the investigators at a particular time and date. But the investigators told her, hey, bruh, don't tell Big U we talked to you. You got it? So she agreed, right? And her knowing that she's on wiretap, by the way, right? Because the police is showing her and playing her the wiretap of their conversation and saying, yo, own up to it. And that's why she owned up to it. So knowing she's on wiretap and knowing the investigators told her, don't talk to anybody about this.
Yeah.
As soon as they left, I'm talking about that day immediately, there's a wiretap conversation of Big U, Armani, and others on the phone where Armani is telling Big U the feds just came by. The document says, however, after they told her, don't talk to Big U, wiretap communication between Big U, her, and others showed that after Armani's interview, she met with Big U and other Big U Enterprise associates to discuss her interaction with law enforcement. Those calls started right after the interview with an associate calling Big U, demanding to talk to him immediately about Armani. On that call, Big U made sure that the caller kept Armani where she was at so that Big U could meet up with her about it. The next day, Big U and Armani talked on the phone about what happened yesterday. Armani never met with the investigators after the conversation with Big U, and she stopped cooperating, right? She refused to cooperate any further, which is why she was arrested and picked up in this RICO. Now, according to wiretaps, Big U was talking to another associate, let him know while on the phone, while on a wiretap, that his lawyer told him that he shouldn't be on the phone. So Big U was well aware. I'm talking about like well aware, like what was going on. So he knew they were investigating him ever since late 2022, early 2023. They're also charging Big U with robberies and a string of extortion that stems anywhere from extorting individual citizens, extorting NBA All-Stars, extorting entertainers, and extorting local businesses.
The RICO charges against Mr. Henley and his associates reflect a pattern of crimes that runs the gambit from extortion to robbery to murder to tax fraud and to human trafficking, all under the umbrella of a well-organized criminal organization led by Mr. Henley. Additionally, Mr. Henley duped the County of Los Angeles by running a nonprofit named Developing Options, which was set up to pull youth out of the gang life and promote anti-gang solutions. Yet Mr. Henley continued to personally orchestrate violent gang activity that impact our communities.
It's at this stage in the indictment we get introduced to Loose Cannon's role and Bricc Baby's role in this indictment. You see, Loose Cannon and Bricc Baby were described as essentially Big U's henchmen, people who were under Big U who committed crimes and robberies on behalf of Big U. And there's several instances that they describe. The first instance would be Big U and Loose Cannon in the Dispensary play. So there was a local dispensary paying Big U about $25,000 a month for protection. Now, the dispensary owner got sick and tired of paying it, and he stopped paying it. And when he stopped paying the $25,000 a month, Big U said, according to the officials now, Big U said, okay, you're not going to play no more? Okay, cool. So in retaliation, on July 5th of 2021, a couple of Big U associates, about a dozen plus, they ran up in a dispensary with guns and armed. Now, strategically, they ran up in a dispensary with no mask on, barefaced, because they wanted the victim one to know that it was, we are Big U guys, and this is because you didn't pay Big U that $25,000. And one of the dudes involved, as you guys see right here, Tremaine Williams, was loose cannon. They took the belongings of the customers, the owners, anybody that was in the dispensary. They robbed you. Like, it don't matter if you were a customer or an employee.
Good God, this is like some movie shit, boy. This crazy.
I robbed.
But
they took the marijuana.
He doing mafia shit in the time where cameras is fucking everywhere. What the fuck?
They took all the cash from the dispensary. They took it all. Now, here's the part of the story that I found almost unbelievable. Like, I couldn't believe it. All right, if I didn't already hear this story before, I would think it was impossible. So, during the robbery, apparently one of the assailants contacted Big U, according to authorities. They put the store owner, the dispensary owner, on the phone with Big U on FaceTime, where Big U is letting him know, hey, bro, I try to warn you, man. I told you to keep paying that $25,000. According to officials, not Flacco, I don't want no smoke. I'm just reporting the news, people, all right? So after they robbed him, they put, the dude on FaceTime with Big U, and, Big U essentially said, all right, listen, they taking your stuff to my crib. Come over to my crib, and we can have a conversation about you possibly getting some things back, but we got to reinstate our original agreement. So the victim went to Big U's premises, as you guys see right here. And others were there, including loose cannon, according to the victim. Now, Big U told this person, that's how you rob yourself. Then Big U demanded $10,000 from the victim to ensure that other robberies did not occur.
Damn.
Now, according to reports, Big U also directed the victim to identify other businesses or dispensaries that he could similarly rob and assure that the victim, would not get robbed himself, and they will also compensate him from whatever they get. They reinstated the agreement, but it wasn't 25 bands a month as it used to be, because he was no longer at that peak of business. So they agreed and settled on a lower amount. But here's the thing. Victim one went working with the police, bro. He said, bro, I done had enough, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking. So
I'm telling. I'm telling. Hey, Your Honor, he's bullying me.
He began to cooperate with the police, and they began to scheme up methods to really catch Big U in the act of extortion, which we will get to shortly.
And so basically, it's like, cause he'll be like, he'll manipulate things. Like, we'll go and do something, and the same niggas we do it to show up to the house like 10 minutes later when we trying to, counting everything, right? And we be like, how the f they get that? Oh, well, we're gonna just give them like $40,000 back and stuff like that. But cause it's actually putting us in paperwork, right? And like doing like real police. I seen he get like 20 guns, and when he got 20 guns, he's selling them to the homies. But I'm like, why are you writing down the serial numbers? So it's like he was doing like shit like that, and I didn't catch on. So it was like, I'm waking up now. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm
high-tech shit.
I'm his right-hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm gonna get it. You get what I'm saying? And then like one day,
you know why he wanted to get a dude back to 40, right?
That's the exact sequence of event that took place with the dispensary. Robbed the dispensary. The person is at the house because they FaceTime Big U allegedly, according to the documents, while at the dispensary. They agreed to meet up at the crib. They meet up at the crib. They give the guy a portion of his money back, told him, hey, bro, you got to get back on the payment plan. According to the document, Loose Cannon admitting to this on No Jumper contributed to him being charged and indicted for it, because the victim been saying Loose Cannon was involved, but there's no video footage of Loose Cannon involved. There's no surveillance of Loose Cannon involved. But Loose Cannon saying this on No Jumper led to the feds indicting him for being involved, because the victim statement and your statement aligns with exactly what took place. So this is bad. In that same interview, Loose Cannon would break down how they robbed Meek Mill at the instructions of Big U, and they were able to extort $50,000 from Rick Ross, but Big U took all the money and iced them out, and that's how they fell out.
Cuz is actually putting us in paperwork, right? And like doing like real police shit. I seen the nigga get like 20 guns, and when he got 20 guns, he's selling them to the homies, but I'm like, why are you writing down the serial numbers? So it's like he was doing like shit like that, and I didn't catch on. So it was like, I'm waking up now. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm his, high-tech shit. I'm his right-hand man. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down to like dirt and stuff like that, I'm gonna get it. You get what I'm saying? And then like one day,
you know why he wanted to get a dude back to 40, right? Because he was gonna make dude give him 20 for getting it back.
Of course.
And kept you out of it.
Of course. He did that to when I did that to Meek Mills and Rick Ross.
What'd you do to them?
So
the club, when you sweated them in the club?
Yeah.
Dude, and Meek and Rick have no idea that Draw sent you at him.
Yeah. No, yeah, they sent that because I called Ross. I'm like, Ross,
boy, this shit getting crazy.
Drop off the 50,000 and we're gonna let Meek live on Crib. So Ross,
shit. Oh my God.
Dropped off the 50,000, and so me and the homies we go back. He stopped answering the phone. He stopped picking up.
Loose Cannon and Big U's relationship, as it's identified in the document, it's similar to Big U's and Bricc Baby's relationship. Now, Loose Cannon is indicted for doing robberies on behalf of Big U. Bricc Baby is also indicted for doing robberies on behalf of Big U. On November 11th, 2022, Bricc Baby and Big U had a conversation that was wiretapped. During that conversation, Bricc Baby identified as Mitchell. Big U identified as Henley. Mitchell, Bricc Baby, was, having a conversation about how much money Bricc Baby should give to Big U in the recent robbery they partaked in. Now, if we scroll down, you will see Big U is talking to another gentleman in a wiretap call, and that conversation goes, they robbed which is Bricc Baby, from some ish. They made a ninja call his plug, and then they booked him. So in another wiretap call, Big U was talking to somebody who confirms that Bricc Baby made somebody call their plug, and then they robbed the plug. And apparently, Big U only got a portion of the money because they had to split it between 5 to 7 people. And remember the owner of the dispensary that allegedly got robbed by Loose Cannon and Big U?
Right.
Well, that owner began to cooperate with the feds, right? Began to cooperate with police. And they began to record all his interactions with Big U. When Big U called demanding he bring his weekly payments, when he pulled up to give Big U the weekly payments, all of that got recorded on video. This is one of the dudes I really feel bad for. He was just a legal business owner who opened up a dispensary in the wrong neighborhood that was ran by Big U in the rolling 60s, because you
nigga should have did his motherfucking research though.
Here, they agreed, give us $2,000 every Monday, and he had to bring $2,000 every Monday, 8 bands a month. It got to a point where, the agreement didn't even matter, right? According to the document, Big U would call him and be like, hey, bro, I need $3,000, right? I'm trying to get a gift for somebody. And he had to bring the money whenever he was called.
Sheesh.
And when he don't, well, you see threats right here where it says in the document, Big U told him, do we need to do another takeover like we did before? I think dude was ready to play ball, but once it gets to a point where you're literally being drained dry, you're
fucking
being
me
drained
over
so dry that you don't even have enough to live. Like, you don't even have enough to run your business. Like,
I'm giving all my money to fucking Big U.
Essentially have to tell at this point to survive and live and eat. So the dude began to work with the feds, and the feds began to give him money to give to Big U. He's on camera paying Big U $1,000 of his extortion fee, $1,500 of his extortion fee, $1,000, and then it got to a point around 2023 where I guess Big U was sort of understanding the feds were investigating him. So then his homeboy began to accept the money on his behalf.
Wow.
Robinson accepted numerous weekly payments on behalf of Big U, according to the officials, and all of this, by the way, is on camera, including the wiretaps where they're demanding that the victim bring them their money. There's a great deal of extortion claims, and if I cover everything, we'll be here all day. All right, we'll be here all day. But I think it's unfortunate. As of now, Big U is innocent until proven guilty. As of now, Loose Cannon is innocent until proven guilty. As of now, Bricc Baby is innocent until proven guilty. Now, I think it's very unfortunate that they find themselves in this situation. And at the end of the day, man, this should be a wake-up call to everybody, bro, that living a life of on the straight and narrow, bro, is always the best option, bro.
Because damn, Rico's? Niggas got to worry about Rico? Nigga, Dior in his room by himself. Man, that being said, man, y'all let me know what y'all think, bro. If y'all want me to stay updated with these situations, bro, y'all can let me know, bro. Benjamin, message your channel. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Great for y'all, man. We gone, man. ADD, let's do it.